A lot to get to on the show this morning. We'll do our Northwestern Mutual guest lineup now to get it out of the way because we've got a guest waiting for us right off the hop. Justin Conzemius is going to join us here in just a few minutes. The Fargo Flash to get us ready on Minnesota Golden Gopher football in 2025. I mentioned the Gophers play their opener tonight as they'll take on Buffalo. The Bulls out of the MAC. We got MACtion coming to Huntington Bank Stadium tonight. We'll preview that with the Fargo Flash and give us the lowdown on some of the top Minnesota high school football players in the Twin Cities that he has kept his eyes on. We'll also talk some Spuds with him as well because he sees all those Twin Cities teams. They're coming up here. We'll do that with the Flash here in just a minute. You saw correctly at 9:35 who our next guest is after that. The man, the myth, the legend who keeps us on the air every day. Apparently he's got a half hour to chat. This has become customary. We do it every year. We talk Husker football. We've done it for 4 years running. Stace will join us. Stacey Anderson, our operations manager, or as we dubbed him today, Husker Football Rube, will join us at 9:35. At 10 o'clock, that's Sammy G. That's his usual time slot. Sam Getzinger will join us at 10. Get us ready for the Bison opener against the Citadel. We're not going to play, I hope, any more South Carolina trivia location because that has been a disaster over the last couple times, but we'll do that coming up at 10. And at 10:35, Kevin Feeney will join us, head football coach at Moorhead, as the Spuds get ready for their opener tonight with Rogers. So it's a packed football lineup. And as I mentioned, it's a great way to start the show when we get the Fargo Flash to join us on Gopher game day. I know he's got to be jacked for that. There he is. One Justin Conzemius joins this morning. What's going? I heard you on the radio this morning. Did you wake up at like 3 o'clock this morning? What time did you get going?
I got going early today. It's game day. I think there's something about the first game jitters. I've always had it. I've never lost it, Dom. Even, I mean, what is it now? It's 30 years ago was my senior year at the U of M.
Holy cow.
And I still, the night before the opener, I can't sleep. Even though I'm 52 years old, I'm still jacked up for Gopher football.
All right. It's a big one tonight. I heard you mention it's year 9 for PJ. I was mentioning this before you came on, I think with almost every college football team, with the amount of transfers, just the amount of movement on rosters, we just don't know, Justin, of what we're going to expect. Drake Lindsey's going to make his debut. What are you watching tonight? What are you keeping your eyes on for the Gophers tonight?
Well, I'm going to watch to see the offensive line, number one. It's got 2 returning players that are at different positions. It's got 3 kids that came from the portal, and so guys that played at their respective universities before coming to Minnesota. So you just got to see how that group gels together. That's always really important. I'm going to be interested to see the play calling with Drake Lindsey. I think Drake is a guy that has the potential to give you that explosion that I think this program really needs. It's the ground and pound days, and I know PJ would like to do that, but if you're going to take advantage of a schedule that's fairly favorable, I think you have to be willing to kind of loosen up the reins on a kid like Drake. Now, he's lacking some experience in terms of explosiveness at the wide receiver position, so you need to develop that. But it's going to be really important to have a play calling that allows you to maybe pass when they're expecting you to run on 1st and 10 and mix it up like that. And again, we haven't had a 6'6" kid that can sling it like Drake here before. And so even though it's year 1, and it's the first game, I think from the gates, you got to make your mark that Drake is a guy that's going to be different from what we've seen with Gopher quarterbacks of the past.
What do we know? What do you know about him, Justin, about Drake Lindsey? Highly touted kid out of Arkansas. How in the world did he come to Minneapolis, Minnesota?
Well, Minnesota recruited him early, so a lot of kids kind of have that first love, right? PJ was there early. He's got a connection through his grandfather that spent some time with the Minnesota Vikings. And Arkansas and the SEC didn't really call as much as he would like, but he was a player of the year in the state of Arkansas, which has got some great football down there. He won a state championship his senior year, and he looks different. So you're going to get your first real look at him tonight, Dom, but he's a big kid. Think of like Carson Wentz, right? 6'6", big body, big arm, throws the ball fairly effortlessly, but he's a guy that's going to need to learn on the job a little bit. But I think you put enough talent around him, and I think we have enough pieces, maybe not as much depth as I would like at wide receiver. He's got a great tight end in Jamison Gears that's back from a couple of years that he started now. And, of course, he's got Darius Taylor behind him, right? to hand the ball off to and actually run some, get him involved in the screen game. But he's a great quarterback. I think, again, experience is going to be his friend, but he's going to need to kind of get baptized by fire tonight at 7 o'clock.
Everybody, at least in outstate, is wondering how often we're going to see Coy Parrots line up. We're seeing some video of him in the split jersey that PJ was doing. I'm assuming on purpose that he's going to play. I mean, how many plays are we going to see him on offense here?
It's debatable. I still think the package is fairly small. But it's not gimmicky. I think there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, Coy Parrots is a remarkable athlete, right? So the fact that you could even think about playing both ways is hard to understand at this level of football. But I think the other big difference is this is a group at wide receiver that I just mentioned. They're a little bit inexperienced, right? They need some talent. And so a guy like Coy, who's explosive, he can come in and be a playmaker. Now, is he going to be an every down guy like Travis Hunter a year ago for Colorado? Absolutely not. But I think when he gets in, right, if you're a defensive coordinator, it's all about, identification. So when he comes out tonight, I can guarantee you they spent more than they would have liked in preparing for that. But the plays, when he gets in there, he's not a decoy. They want to get Coy Parrots the football.
You followed him in high school. Is he better than what you thought? Like, to have the kind of freshman year he had, is that even beyond what you anticipated?
Yeah, I mean, I remember that first game, like, oh my gosh, he actually is out there. But then I've seen him at practice when Cade was a part of the program. I saw glimpses even this fall camp where I think he has a year of experience. And I think, again, there's nothing more important, at least that I know in the game of football, than experience. So he's got 12 games under his belt. He played a lot of offense in the spring. He played a lot of offense actually in the fall camp. And so is he a great route runner? No, but he's just a great athlete that's got differential speed. And so he's done it. Now, you don't want to have him have the sophomore slump. And I was telling the guys off air this morning, I don't know if I've seen a player with more preseason hype in my time around the program, which I go back to when I was being recruited by the Gophers and a guy named Daryl Thompson was there. It's that long, Dom, where we've had a guy with so much publicity. I mean, there's talk of the Heisman Trophy. There's talk of the Jim Thorpe Award. And so there's a lot of pressure on the kid. But if there's any guy that can take it, it's Coy Parrots. He's a big ego kid, but he doesn't just talk the talk. He walks the walk.
Wait a minute. There's plenty of hype when you came to Minnesota. Come on now, right?
I remember when I had an interception and returned it for a touchdown. I remember the Minneapolis reporters like, wow, you're really fast. And the guys from the Fargo Forum were like, gosh, I remember you being faster in high school. So it all worked out.
The schedule, to me, and no much been made about the non-conference part. To me, we're going to throw this up here, Flash, just to look at the schedule. To me, for Minnesota, it all boils down to the middle part of the year. I look at Purdue, Husker, Iowa, that stretch there, they got to go 2-1 in my mind. They do that, they got a chance to maybe win 7-8 games, because going to Ohio State, going to Oregon, the Wrigley Field game is going to be cool at the end of the year, but that stretch to me stands out. What about for you? Is there something else that stands out?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, you got to be careful when you have Rutgers come here. You come off a bye week, so I think you won't overlook Rutgers. But Ethan Kaliakmanis comes back, and so there's a storyline there. But I think you're right. Revenge for the Gophers. But you think Purdue's a program that has 85 new bodies on their program this year. You got 25 some freshmen, 50 some portal kids, which is just crazy. But you're right. It's the 50-50 games. I think Nebraska is actually going to make a big move this year. If you're a betting man tonight, take Nebraska -5.5. I think Iowa's been a tough team for PJ to win. Yep. If you go back, you're going to Iowa. It's the first game at Iowa since the invalid fair catch. Michigan State has circled this game, Don. Michigan State has circled this game at Huntington Bank Stadium as a game that they will win to become bowl eligible. It's one of the games that they need. So you're right. I think that Purdue, Nebraska, Iowa, Michigan State, and I'm going to say you got to go 4-0. This is the program that on the preseason schedule or the preseason rankings has only 2 ranked opponents on it. You're in year 9 of PJ Fleck. You've built balance through the portal. You have a Heisman Trophy candidate that's in the discussion, at least with Coy Parrots. Yeah. So to me, a 9-3 team potentially in the Big Ten gets in the college football playoff, which I know sounds crazy, but this is one of those years, right? Like, the papers are talking about it today. This is a coach now that's in, he has the third longest tenure of any Big Ten coach. Well, Kirk Ferentz is 27 years in. He won the Big Ten year 2. James Franklin's in year, I think it's 14. He won the Big Ten in year 3. He's gotten close a couple of times to get to that championship game. This is the type of schedule. I know you got a first-year quarterback, but you got a running back that's pretty dynamic. You got a linebacker, Maverick Baranowski, that's back, who we feel great about. You have, I think, a first-day draft potential pick in Anthony Smith at the defensive line. So the talent's here. The schedule's favorable. Now you need to deliver. And so I look at that middle of the schedule as where there's actually not room for error. You need to actually go 4-0.
Couple last things for you. I know you got to roll. What are your Iowa people telling you about Gronowski and how the transition has gone for him now to take over a quarterback for the Hawkeyes?
Well, I think anything's upside there, right? Iowa's just struggled at that position. And so anything more than a 5-yard out, I think they feel great about in terms of their deep passing game. I think, again, I look at the Max Brosmer experiment a year ago.
Yeah.
These guys that come from FCS, I don't really care. They've got great experience, which again is very valuable. I bet Gronowski is going to be a handful. I think he's going to make a big mark in the Big Ten.
I mentioned before you came on, it's a big night up here. The Spuds are starting their first 6A season. You see these teams all the time. I'm really interested to, a Maple Grove, Minnetonka, to come up here. They don't know anything like past St. Cloud. That's 2 more hours. I'm interested. You're down there. What are you hearing about the teams coming up this way, and are they dreading coming up to Moorhead?
I think it's a very different, right? It's just never happened before. So I think it's going to be a very different experience. What I'm interested to see is how many two-way players Moorhead has. When I see coaches make the move from 4 and 5A up to 6A, when I see a program make it, they tend to play a lot more guys 2A. Dom, you don't see that here. Even a Jack Lewinsky played very, very little defense for us at Minnetonka. And so because again, it's a little bit of a more physical football game. And so I'll be interested to see Kevin before the game when they come up to Minnetonka in a few weeks and they have a 6:00 kick. But I love that they're doing it, because if you just look at the state of Minnesota football, well, Moorhead's at the top level, right? So it's great to have some of these big matchups, and they got put into a really tough conference. Minnetonka is loaded again this year.
Maple
Grove's got a quarterback that's going to South Dakota State. They feel great about him, and Mason West from Medina, he's an NHL draft pick who, quite candidly is probably a top 50 quarterback in the country, right? So there's some great talent, but I'd love to see that Moorhead's making the move. I'm excited to see the Spuds down here at Minnetonka here in a few weeks. It's
great to see you, man. I know you got to roll. Thanks so much for giving us a few minutes. I know you're going to go crazy tonight. Enjoy the game. We'll talk during the season, all right?
Yeah, it should be a lot of fun. Thanks for having me, Dom.
Good to see you, bud. There he goes, the Fargo Flash himself. Justin Conzemius joining us this morning. What a great way to get our show rocking and rolling here. The Gophers play tonight with Buffalo to open up the 2025 season. A lot of expectations there. That might seem a bit rose-colored there about college football. They got to go to Ohio State. You got to go to Iowa. You got to go to Oregon. Those 3 are really tough. And the Gophers got tripped up with a Rutgers last year. They're going to have to beat Nebraska, which is a Friday night game. Michigan State, that Northwestern game, and obviously got to beat Wisconsin, which is just going to be dynamite. So we're off and rolling with a great way to start our show. All right, we'll break. We come back. I don't know if I'm going to have time for it tomorrow, so I'm going to do it today. Our tribute to the great Lee Corso is set to step aside from College Game Day. A look back at his 3 times that he picked the Bison. We're going to do that on the other side of the break. Back on Hot Mic on a Thursday morning. We're back after this.